Welcome to DOE's Guidance Summary webinar, relating specifically to Weatherization Program Notice 19-5. WPN 19-5 specifically addresses DOE's new Incidental Repair Measure guidance, which includes repairs relating to windows, doors, and roofs. This latest guidance will provide updates and clarifications to WPN 12-9. WPN 19-5 supersedes WPN 12-9 and its related FAQ document. The topics that this WPN will address are general incidental repair measure policies as it relates to the Weatherization Assistance Program, and it also specifically addresses roof repairs, window and door repairs, as well as window and door replacements with the use of incidental repair funds. First, let's highlight just the major changes that this WPN will introduce. It does clarify when roof repairs may be performed as incidental repair or health and safety measures. It does allow for roof repairs to be performed as ancillary measures. It's also going to clarify when window and door repairs are allowed as incidental repair, health and safety, or ancillary measures. Additionally, it clarifies that window and door replacements are allowed now as incidental repair measures with certain requirements for documentation. However, it does remove window and door replacements from being included in air sealing under any circumstances. WPN 19-5 reiterates the Department of Energy's definition of certain terms. While these were contained in WPN 12-9, they have been updated with the most current guidance references. The terms that are specifically defined in this WPN are ancillary items, energy conservation measures, or ECMs, health and safety measures, or H&S, incidental repair measures, or IRMs, the package of weatherization measures, and savings to investment ratio, or SIR. DOE wishes to remind grantees and subgrantees that the Weatherization Assistance Program is not a rehabilitation or general repair program. This guidance strictly prohibits standalone roof replacements, structural repairs, or other non-energy related rehabilitation work. If a unit requires this type of repair, it should be referred to a rehab program, or the subgrantee must use other sources of funding to cover these costs. The incidental repair category is reserved for repairs that are not part of an energy conservation measure, or ECM, but are necessary to protect a newly installed ECM. That being said, the definition of incidental repairs has not changed from the previous guidance, because the definition for incidental repair measures is rooted in the statute and regulation that guides the Weatherization Assistance Program. For that reason, incidental repair measures are still deemed to be minor repairs that are necessary for the effective performance or preservation of newly installed energy conservation measures. No measure may be installed as an incidental repair measure to protect or preserve a previously existing item in the home. While not an entirely new idea, WPN 19-5 makes it very clear what justification is required for all incidental repair measures. Every client file that contains an incidental repair must specifically identify what energy conservation measure it is preserving or protecting. It must also contain photo documentation of why this incidental repair is necessary, and there should be a short written justification or comment contained in the audit documentation that provides reasoning for the incidental repair. This guidance also reiterates that the package, or cumulative or total job, SIR, must be 1.0 or greater with all included IRMs to qualify for DOE funding. Now let's specifically discuss roof repairs. A roof repair is allowed as an incidental repair measure if it meets the requirements laid out in the previous slide, including all documentation and justification. A roof repair may also be performed as a health and safety measure. This is not new. The idea was contained in WPN 17-7, which addresses health and safety. For a roof repair to qualify as health and safety measure, it must resolve a bulk water intrusion issue that is causing visible biological growth. There's no need to test this biological growth, but it must be visible and be clear that it's being created by a bulk water intrusion issue. Additionally, to be included as a health and safety measure, roof repairs for this reason must be included in the grantee's annual plan and contain a clear limitation on funding. This could be a monetary cap or related to a square footage or area which is allowable to be repaired. However, if it is not included in the health and safety plan with a limitation on the funding for that particular item, it does not qualify. One other additional item that is required to be included as a health and safety measure, there must be photos of the biological growth and a written explanation in the file to justify it as a health and safety measure. New to this WPN is allowing a roof repair as an ancillary item. Keep in mind that for a measure to qualify as an ancillary measure, then the energy conservation measure that's being installed and to which this repair is ancillary must typically require such a repair. A couple of examples of this might be roof-mounted solar or insulating the roof deck itself. However, this is not a license to spend anything you want on a roof repair. For a roof repair to qualify as an ancillary measure, its cost must be included in the energy conservation measure and analyzed for an SIR of 1 or greater for the specific measure to which it is ancillary. Next, let's consider window and door repairs. Window and door repairs have always been permitted as incidental repair measures, as long as it meets the requirements laid out in Slide 6. Window and door repairs have also been allowed as health and safety measures since WPN 17-7 was released. Note, however, for a window or door repair to qualify as a health and safety measure, then it must resolve a bulk water intrusion issue that is causing visible biological growth. Additionally, this window or door repair must be included in the grantee's annual plan with a clear monetary or other limitation applied to the funding for this particular measure. One additional item that must be noted is that photos of the biological growth and a written explanation of why this repair is necessary as a health and safety item must be contained in the client file. New to this WPN is allowing window and door repairs as ancillary to a measure that may typically require such a repair. This will be very limited as most window and door repairs fall into the incidental repair category. However, if there is a reason that a window or door repair could be ancillary, meaning that it is required typically to install a measure such as the repair of a window frame to allow new glass to be installed, could be considered an ancillary measure. However, window and door repairs are not typically going to be ancillary to air sealing in any circumstances. Now, let's consider the matter of window and door replacements. Not repairs, but replacements. DOE requires that all window and door replacements first are considered as energy conservation measures, meaning they are analyzed individually in your audit tool to see if they will qualify to be replaced as an energy savings measure. Every client file where window and door replacements were considered for energy conservation measures must show that this was done first before any other funding category was used. This would be in the form of documentation in the client file that demonstrates each window or door that is replaced was first considered for an energy conservation measure. This documentation would typically take the form of a recommended measures report or an energy savings evaluation that demonstrates that this window or door replacement did not meet the individual SIR requirement to be included in the work scope as an ECM. DOE would like to remind all grantees and subgrantees that window and door replacements may no longer be included in air sealing or in any other measure. They must be evaluated as standalone measures and must be cost justified. Some window or door replacements that do not qualify as energy conservation measures due to an SIR of less than 1 may be considered as incidental repair measures in certain circumstances. May be considered for installation as an incidental repair measure. However, it must meet the requirements laid out in Slide 6, including justification of the specific energy conservation measure it is protecting, photo documentation demonstrating why this window or door replacement will protect this newly installed ECM, and brief written justification and comments that outline why a window or door replacement was installed as an incidental repair measure. Remember, if a window door replacement is installed as an incidental repair measure, it must be included in the cumulative SIR evaluation and result in a package SIR of 1.0 or greater. Any window or door replacement installed as an incidental repair measure must meet all of the qualifications outlined in this WPN. DOE wants to make it clear that any cost charged to the incidental repair category that does not meet the definitions and documentation requirements contained in this WPN are subject to being questioned and potentially disallowed. DOE will monitor the use of incidental repair funds closely during site visits and desk reviews. DOE encourages grantees to consider the use of alternative funds anytime possible to pay for these measures. This will allow DOE funds to fulfill the Weatherization Program's primary mission, which is to increase the energy efficiency of dwellings. Grantees are encouraged to immediately begin development of the required policies and guidance for their network so as to be fully compliant with this WPN no later than the start of their 2020 program year. All Program Year 20 annual plan submittals will be reviewed with a view to verifying if this has been completed. Grantees should give special attention to ensuring that window and door replacements are no longer included in air sealing or any other energy conservation measure and are being considered appropriately as standalone measures in nearly all cases. Any additional questions relating to this Weatherization Program Notice 19-5 should be directed to your DOE Project Officer of Record. DOE acknowledges that measure funding category decisions can be complicated. To facilitate this decision-making process, DOE has provided a flowchart in Attachment 1 of WPN 19-5. Grantees are encouraged to use this flowchart when making DOE funding category decisions. As always, for any additional information, program guidance, and memoranda, please see DOE's EERE Weatherization Program Guidance webpage, which can be located at the web address contained on this slide. Thank you so much for your time and attention.